Samba Sport Podcast, where stories are told.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Samba Sport Podcast. Remember, this is where stories are told. I'm your host, Amani Nori. Today, we are honored to host Her Majesty the Queen, as the people of Kwale refer her, Malkia. She is an educator with 2 bachelors in English and African Studies and a master's of teaching. She is also a secondary school teacher of English, literature and African Studies who enjoys singing and dancing. Straight out of Los Angeles, California to Kenya, meet Malkia, who is a Fulbright Scholarship Fellow in Kenya. We'll speak with her to tell us more about her experience at Samba Sports and also the Fulbright Scholarship. Welcome.
Thank you so much. My name is Brandi Taylor and I am a secondary school teacher. As you said, I teach English and Africana Studies, and I also enjoy international teaching experiences as well. In my free time, I do like to sing and dance. Actually, while I've been out here, I've been in a few music videos and been a few features on some of my friends' music. So that is definitely something I enjoy outside of the classroom.
Right.
Yeah.
That is amazing. For a lot of people already know who Brandi Taylor is. And like I said, you're a Fulbright Scholarship Fellow here in Kenya. Just pretty quick, would you mind telling us about the Fulbright program? You know, what opportunities does it have on you and also to the society here in Kwale? Other than that, we'd love to know your experience as a Fulbright Fellow. How is it like?
Well, the Fulbright program is something that has been a goal of mine since high school. When I was a senior in high school, Form 4, a teacher told me that I should consider it because I told her my dream was to teach in Africa. And she was like, have you ever heard of the Fulbright program? And from then on, that was my goal. So it is an opportunity that allows you to either be a teacher or to study for your master's or PhD in a different country. It's a 9-month program usually, but it changes depending on the country, where they fully fund your housing and any of the projects and research that you want to do, and you have embassy support through that. Once you're a Fulbright scholar, I mean, you can pretty much do anything you'd want to do. It is a very prestigious program. A lot of people go into foreign services. Some people, they publish their research, they become published authors and whatnot. For me, I just really appreciate the opportunity that's given me to teach internationally. So I've taught in China, I've taught in Ecuador, and through the Fulbright program, I've taught in Kenya. This is actually my second Fulbright. The first one, unfortunately, I was here when the pandemic hit and they canceled the program and they told us we had to reapply, and it takes about a year to apply. It's a very, very long process. So I'm very resilient, and so I reapplied and ended up getting it again. So I was really, really blessed, and I'd say this experience has been better than the first experience just because of where it's at. I mean, I'm on the coast, it's beautiful, and I was able to be connected with Samba Sports. So I will say my first Fulbright, I was just out there alone. With this one, Samba Sports became a family, became a village for me, and helped me along the way, which as someone who's been, privileged enough to have 2 experiences, I'd say I feel way more supported with this experience because of Samba Sports.
Amazing. A lot of people would want to know, teaching. Where were you teaching? And what was the experience you teaching here in Kenya as well, as a Fulbright Scholarship Fellow?
So I taught at Kobani Secondary School. I will say that was a bit challenging for me. When I think about what was challenging, I'd say teaching at Kobani was not because of the rigor or I didn't know what I was doing. It was because I realized teaching took a different role out here for me. As an educator in the States, I have my own classroom. I teach students with special educational needs. I also teach students who know English as a second or third language. That's challenging. But out here, I had to kind of take a step back because I didn't know I didn't know what I was supposed to be teaching out here. The education system is different. The testing system is different. And I know that we're coming off of the pandemic. And so a lot of students are so busy catching up for their exams. So I learned to take a step back. And that was a challenge for me as someone who was the general ed teacher that had to always be in the front making decisions. I had to take a step back and I had to find ways to teach that weren't necessarily in the classroom. And that's when my colleague and I came up with the On the Dot Minstrel Project, where we were having classes for young girls, teaching them reproductive health, self-defense, gender-based violence, and eventually how to make their own reusable pads. So I felt like my teaching role was more so out of the classroom than in the classroom, which was a nice break and was a challenge for me.
Okay, and how did that make you feel as a person?
In the beginning, I was a little frustrated. That was something that was frustrating me. Like, I just left my classroom to come here and not be able to teach in the way that I know teaching to be. But it was a learning experience. It was a humbling experience. And it really showed the value of educators across the board. You don't have to be in front of the classroom to be an educator. You can educate in all these different ways. And I feel like that's the biggest takeaway I've had here in Kenya and with Samba Sports.
Wow, amazing. You were at Samba Sports because of the English Access Microscholarship Program. How is your experience so far with Samba Sports?
Samba Sports has been amazing. Not only the support that they have given the micro scholarship program, but the support that Samba has given the community. It really touched close to home. I feel like I've been so blessed to work with Samba because of the focus of mental health, drug abuse, and gang violence. Coming from Los Angeles, coming from South Central Los Angeles in particular, there's a lot of drug abuse, there's a lot of gang violence, there's definitely a lot of mental struggles that come in the Black community in the States. And so I felt so encouraged and privileged to be a part of this program that's doing the work that we need to do in the States. I learned so much that I'm so excited to take back to my town, take back to my students. It really hit close to home because of my own lived experiences. Samba is working on things that I struggle with. My mother was a victim of drug abuse. My mother is incarcerated, you know, and so to just be able to have all these different programs, because Samba does so many things. They have their hands in a lot of things. I mean, the options were limitless. How do I want to impact today? All I had to do was check in on Samba and then I could go in the right direction.
With all that in the package, you know, the experience, how would you talk about your life at Samba Sports in that period, the 9-month period that you've been here? How would you say your life was like with Samba Sports?
My life was definitely interesting, spontaneous, busy, and just really encouraging. I remember my favorite thing that I've done with Samba, we went to a school, Dima Primary School, to talk about menstrual health and talk about sexual reproductive health as well. And it was so fun. It was so spontaneous. I went to this place that I never would have been to if it wasn't for Samba, speaking to all these students of all these ages. And it was just so much fun. It was so fun. The way Samba leads their events is very interactive, energetic. There's dancing, there's singing, there's games. And then there's, you know, the meat and potatoes of the situation. Like now let's talk about what we're here for. But Samba does a great job of getting people relaxed and getting people engaged and having fun before we then get into like the real topics.
So speaking of the best moments, I know there are plenty that come in mind, but if someone, let's say from the US, wants to know, Brandi, what were your best moments that you'll probably write a book about with Samba Sports?
I would say one of the Gal Power events that I went to, I did not know what to expect. I mean, I'd heard about it in the staff meetings, but hearing about it versus being present and a part of the program was completely different. I mean, you had like 100 young girls there, all these different games, cultural games, as well as just regular games that were really enlightening. I mean, you know, trying to shave the coconut as fast as you can, or trying to like flip the maze, carrying buckets of water on your head. Like it was, I just loved how engaged it was to the culture. And as also, I mean, we had time to have real deep conversations about, you know, reproductive health, hygiene, even sex. It was really fun. It was very busy. I was thrown into the mix, but sometimes you have to be thrown into the mix to learn. You just have to be vulnerable. You just have to try things. And Samba Sports gives so many people opportunities to learn and try things.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Speaking of culture and everything, you came into a region with different culture or different culture from yours.
Yeah.
What is it that you feel like the people here at Samba Sports, maybe your students at Kombani Secondary through the fellowship, that took from you and that you took from them, part of the culture that you feel like, I hold this so dearly and I think they took this from me and they probably live with it forever as part of your best moments?
I would say I'm a historian. I have a degree in Africana Studies, and the Black history is very important to me as a Black American. I would say in the beginning it was a challenge because my students would ask me, what tribe are you from? What tribe are you from?
Okay.
And although it's funny, it hurt my feelings a little bit because unfortunately, due to the transatlantic slave trade, I don't know what my tribe is from.
Okay.
I know that I come from a tribe, but there's no way for me to know what tribe because of slavery. And I use that question as an opportunity to teach my students about Black history in America.
Okay.
I use that opportunity to teach them about the slave trade, to teach them about the civil rights movement, to teach them about the Black Power movement. And I remember in February, really early on, being a speaker at the Black History Month program and teaching them the Black Power Fist. I have the tattoo on my back, and sometimes depending on my clothes, the students will see it, people will see it. And so I was able to give them a lesson, like, you see this tattoo on my back? This means Black is power, Black is beautiful. And all the students, they had their fist up and they were repeating it. And I felt, as a Black American, I just felt so moved, so emotional, like I felt like I was at home. I felt like for once, everybody around me, no matter what tribe or where we're from, we look the same. We're Black. Black is power, Black is beauty. And I just remember that being one of my favorite moments with my students.
Wow, amazing. With all the beautiful stories that you've had, best moments and all of that, there are probably low moments. Would you tell us the low moments that you've experienced and you feel like, wow, this was quite a thing?
To be honest, this is the happiest I've ever been in my life. Being here in Kenya, being here in Kwale, being here with Samba. There are not many low moments. I would say the lowest moment for me, like I said in the beginning, was that transition of being a general education teacher and then having to take a step back and being more so a teacher's assistant and having to find ways of teaching outside of the classroom. Because as a general ed teacher, I know it's very important to know what you're teaching the students because there are exams and there are things that you're preparing your students for life. I didn't want to come here and be this American who like, oh yeah, I'm a teacher, I know what I'm doing. I didn't want to come there and do that. So I had to learn that my role isn't necessarily in front of the classroom. My role is maybe, you know, having different programs outside of that, working with Samba, or just, you know, asking the teacher that I was partnered with, hey, what do you need me to do? You want me to make copies? You want me to staple? Do you want me to help you grade and mark papers? It wasn't necessarily being in the front all the time. And that was just something, I wouldn't say that was a low moment, but I would say like, if I was to consider any type of low moment, it would just be my frustration in the beginning and then me having to unpack that and reflect on that and understanding, whoa, let me take a step back. Yeah. Wow,
amazing. Samba Sports has been great. Also, from your explanation, the Fulbright Scholarship has been doing an amazing job. As I quote, you have been happiest ever in your life, I think, experience here. Your last words to the Samba Sports family and Kenya at large, parting shots, what do you want to tell them as you end your stay here as a Fulbright Scholarship Fellow?
I would say thank you to Kenya, thank you to Samba, thank you to the Fulbright program for allowing me a chance to come back home as a Black American, to come to Africa, to be a teacher, to be a student. I will be back. This is not my last time. It's not my first time. It's not my last time. I will be back because I know that I have a home and I have a village with Samba. Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing. You've all heard it from herself, Her Majesty, the Queen, Malkia, Brandi Taylor. She had a lot of things to tell us about her experience here. And from me to you, we have had a very good conversation. I hope this helps you, motivates you, and for all those who are considering Kenya for their Fulbright Scholarship Fellowship, let them come. Samba Sports is home, and the family is always great to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.